I think Korea is one of the most stupid countries in the world. I don't even think Korea is a first world country. I honestly think Korea is probably a second world country at best.
You guys remember Johnny Somali? The guy who's arguably ground zero for all the degenerate IRL streamers that would go to foreign countries and just harass the people there for content? Essentially trying to be IRL GTA protagonists. Well, after Johnny Boy's little romp in a bunch of other countries, most notably Japan, Israel, and Korea, he finally ended up being arrested in South Korea for his crimes in November of 2024 and put on court, essentially locking him in legal purgatory ever since. Suffice to say, he is not having a good time in the legal system. Between the 8 separate charges he racked up due to his douchebaggery, the myriad of court trials he's had at this point, and the fact that he got uber drunk the night before his first court date, which made him arrive an hour late. Not a good look to the judge, and the public for that matter. Really setting the tone there. But how is Johnny Somali faring now? While he's been going through the legal ringer in Korea, and not without good reason, all good things must come to an end. And Salami Boy's legal journey is no exception, as he's just finished up 2 court trials in February, with his last court trial slated to be on April 15th. But I'm sure you guys are all wondering, how is Johnny holding up right now, and what will the final verdict be? And unsurprisingly, the answer is not good. For Johnny at least. We gonna be eating good. Now, while a fair bit of time has passed since his last notable court date in South Korea, Johnny proclaimed that one of his deepfake charges was dropped in an October trial from last year, which he of course tried to tout as a win, which ended up not even being true. Apparently, South Korean prosecutors decided to keep that deepfake charge, which was confirmed in the February 11th trial.
On the record, all of these charges here, all 8 of these charges, including the 2 deepfakes, are still there on the record. So nothing was dropped.
And so Johnny is still bearing the full weight of all his legal sins. All 8 charges. I don't even know why he's trying to fight the deepfake charges, considering how he's the guy that streamed himself sharing them publicly. Also, even if they were magically removed, he still has 6 other charges to deal with. Granted, the deepfake charges screw him the hardest out of all the charges there, but does he actually believe he's getting off scot-free if only the deepfake charges were removed? They still hate his guts, and rightfully so. There wasn't a lot going on during the February 11th trial. Johnny and his legal team just argued about the deepfakes, especially in relation to Bonbon, trying to play the hypocrisy argument by saying that Bonbon had an OnlyFans, which still doesn't change the fact that Johnny, at the very least, still distributed deepfakes. Before I continue any further, I do want to clear up one point. Now, there's been an influx of people clickbaiting Johnny, claiming that he's getting 30-something years of jail time, which is based on the assumption that each of his max charges gets the max sentence for each one. That's a bit clickbaity, and while there's nothing inherently wrong with a little bit of clickbait from time to time, I'm just letting you guys know that's clickbait. It's much more realistic that he's only getting 10 to 12 years at most, which was the second most common theory before the trial on February 27th. But as stated before, with Johnny's legal trials wrapping up soon, with a final one on April 15th, he is at this point desperate and scared, and I don't blame him. Apparently, in the February 27th trial, the Korean courts put him through the ringer as the prosecutors recommended a very strong sentence for Johnny, which put the fear of God into him. I don't know how being arrested in Japan or all the other times he's been beaten didn't put the fear of God into him, but hey, at least he's learning. It's a shame it's too little too late. Please note that at the time of recording this video, there is no official court transcript, so a lot of the info from it is secondhand. But to sum up Johnny's punishments, the prosecutors want him to serve a 3-year sentence in prison with manual labor. So the possibility that Johnny Somali will have to pick cabbages is a potential reality in the near future. He will also apparently be sent to a general prison for Koreans instead of a foreigner one, and my understanding is that the Korean-based prisons are a lot harder than the foreigner ones. Keep in mind too that he's going to be doing prison labor with Koreans, and they no doubt want some payback for his cultural trash talk against them in their country. That and the fact that he was twerking on a comfort woman statue, or any other degenerate act that he did. The prosecutors also wanted a couple of other punishments, such as them wanting Johnny to pay the maximum fine and damages, which is roughly 150,000 Korean won, or roughly $100 US. While $100 doesn't sound like a lot, I have no idea how far a US dollar actually matters in Korea, so maybe it's considered a lot for them. Ultimately, it's a moot point considering how they want him jailed working hard labor, or at the very least some sort of labor. And for the last point, which is they want him on a Korean sex offender registry for the deepfakes. Honestly, the sex offender registry might be the most damning punishment, just because it has the most negative implication out of everything. Even though it's only for 5 years, it's going to plummet his reputation even more somehow. Not to mention any potential problems for him if he tries going back to the US while still under the Korean sex offender registry. Speaking of which, in the US, if you're put abroad on the sex offender registry, you must also put yourself on a registry in the US or face up to 10 years in prison. Meaning that all of the negative implications of being on a sex offender registry will also apply in the US, and all of the restrictions that come with being on a sex offender registry. Between that and your digital footprint, good luck finding employment, mate. The prosecution also wanted to take his phones away, but I don't think that really matters at this point. Something tells me he's not going to be able to live stream in jail, phone or no phone. Naturally, this hard sentencing really put the squeeze down on Johnny, and he realized that he had to lock in, or he'd be locked up. This caused him to do something that he should have done all the way back during his Japan arc, which was to give an apology. Granted, the apology reportedly isn't that great, and it more just sounds like a last-ditch effort so he doesn't get the book thrown at him, and you can tell that the court also views it the same way. His main defense/apology boils down to 3 points. His first point is him basically pleading that he's been trapped in Korea for 1.5 years at this point. Dude, no one made you go on a rampage terrorizing Koreans. You chose to do that when you threw noodles at a store and spat at a lady, twerked on a comfort woman statue, harassed bus passengers, and many more other crimes that would take me all day if I covered all of them here. All of that is just the tip of the iceberg. I do have other videos talking about some of the other stuff he did though. Link in description. You chose to break Korea's laws and disrespect their people, and now you're upset that they're taking action against you? As far as we're all concerned, you fucked around and found out. The second point is that he's apologetic for committing these crimes, and he was drunk and didn't understand Korean culture. Guys, it's okay, Johnny was just a drunk little baby who didn't know any better. You know, he was just an underage 25-year-old. All is forgiven now. Dude, you had 2 other countries to realize that you shouldn't be an antagonistic piece of shit to the locals for cheap content. And now that the legal walls are closing in, now you conveniently want to give an apology? Interesting. He also tried to play the excuse of, if I'm in trouble for showing deepfakes and Bonbon is too. Well, that technically is true. They both show deepfakes. The difference in intent between you and Bonbon showing the deepfakes matters. You did it to stir up drama for your live streams and slander her as dating you, which, let's be real, is life ruining considering your reputation.
I have a Korean girlfriend. I don't know why you guys want to attack me. Even I have a Korean girlfriend. She's a streamer. Bong Bong IRL, this is my girlfriend.
While she did it to show that you made/shared the deepfakes of her to defame her, her reason for sharing them is way more forgivable than yours. Also, even if she was arrested for deepfakes, that still doesn't change the fact that 1/4 of your charges are for deepfakes. Obviously, with such a shoddy defense, the judge and by extension the courts aren't happy, with the judge apparently openly glaring at Johnny with disgust, which may have influenced the decision to extend Johnny's final court date into April 15th, instead of a faster sentencing time. As usually, the final court trial is around 2 weeks after the final argument, so the fact that the final trial is 2 months out means that the judge is brewing up something vile for Johnny. I imagine with everyone unhappy with Johnny, he will receive the recommended prosecution sentence for all 8 charges, or something close to it, which is 3 years of prison labor, 150,000 won fine, registered on the Korean sex offender registry for 5 years, and his 2 phones taken away for evidence. And that's basically all of the major events during the February 27th trial. It's apparent the court is largely done with Johnny's antics now, and are just waiting for the April trial to make it official, giving him 2 more months to stress about his doom. This made Johnny very mad, and in his infinite wisdom, he decided the best way to handle this was to lash out publicly and trash talk Korea. Apparently, Korea is at best a second world country.
So let's tune in 1 second to what he is now saying about Korea after the trial. Once again, this is a recent comment.
You know what's really pissing me off, chat? Let me tell you what's really pissing me off. I think Korea is one of the stupidest countries in the world. I think Korea is one of the most stupid countries in the world. I don't even think Korea is a first world country. I honestly think Korea is probably a second world country at best. They put on the mask and the plastic surgery, majority of the got plastic surgery. I think this country is a second world country at best, because how are you so stupid?
And once again, he goes on ranting, rambling. I won't play too much more of this because there's a lot of cursing in it, a lot of this.
Oh, boo-hoo. How dare Korea arrest you after you terrorized their citizens and culture for views? If holding someone legally accountable for their crimes is second world country behavior at best, then more countries should be second world countries. How are you so stupid? Says a guy that went out of his way to travel to a country to antagonize the people there, and then act surprised that they have the means to arrest him for the crimes that he livestreamed to the internet, making him his own worst enemy in regards to proof of crimes committed across multiple countries. At least now we know for sure your court apology was just a load of shit. You talk about getting second chances and making dumb mistakes in court, and then the moment you think you're free from the court, you start talking hard and trash talking like you aren't gonna act like a giant pussy during the April court session. I mean, I'm not that surprised though, considering his past attempts of feeling remorse for his actions.
My question is basically to Johnny. What I would like to know is if he has any regrets for what he has been doing over the past few years, especially what's been going on in South Korea.
Zero regrets, zero remorse.
So you have zero remorse for what you've done.
Tell me what I've done. Tell me what I've done that I should be remorseful for, C42. Tell me.
Yeah, if it wasn't clear to you guys, he doesn't actually feel bad about the crimes he committed in Korea. He just doesn't want to have his life ruined over something he doesn't feel bad about. The crazy part is that this isn't the first time that Johnny has trash talked after his court trials. Around the time he first got the deepfake charges added to his rap sheet, it made Johnny crash out and trash talk the judge, talking about how the judge can suck his dick. Even the prosecutors catch a stray.
Shout out to President you. Fuck the judge. Fuck the prosecutor. Y'all can suck my dick. Bitch ass niggas.
Yeah.
Suck my dick on soft. Tell them what the charges is. Fucking carrying a fish. Tell them.
Carrying a fish and causing anxiety.
Excellent move, man. Please diss the person who has your life in their hands. I'm sure you won't feel any repercussions about it in your April trial. Although it wouldn't be the first or worst time you've dissed a Korean court. As a matter of fact, the other notable time he trash-talked the judge was when he, and I kid you not, referred to the judge as a racial slur for Koreans. I'm not kidding.
You can speak English. Because the judge,
The nigga told me, what's the address, nigga? I'm like, nigga, I don't know how to tell you, nigga. How do I say ching chong, ching ching ching? How can I say that to you? I don't speak your language.
essentially, he got in trouble for, number one, wearing the hat.
I didn't get in trouble. I don't speak Korean. The nigga said take the hat off. I don't know what these gook ass niggas said. Nigga said take the hat off. I don't know what the fuck.
Dude, if you want to go to jail so badly, all you had to do is ask. There's no need for the racial slur. I hope I don't need to explain to you guys why calling the judge in charge of your life a racial slur is a catastrophic idea. He also has many other instances of him insulting the judge in the Korean courts in general, but if I covered them all, we would be here all day, and they all sort of start to blend in together. Unless he can top calling the judge a racial slur was a bomb threat or something, all his Korean court trash talk is repetitive. People online have started making compilations of these insults though, to send to the Korean court. I mean, at this point, it's just natural selection. Dissing the people who hold your life in their hands. I imagine these clips will have quite the impact in the upcoming April trial. It's a shame that he doesn't have the balls to at least be consistent in court. Dude, you obviously loathe the judge and Korea as a whole. Stop pretending that you care. It's very obvious to anyone that you don't care and are only giving the bare minimum lip service now that you could face jail time. At least go out with a bang, you're already legally screwed. Speaking of apologies, in addition to Johnny's court apology, he also delivered an official apology letter on March 17th, which mirrors his in-court apology, most likely since Korean court documents like this aren't open to the public. Which again, too little too late. The best time to have sent this letter was when he first got arrested in Korea, not when the trial is all but over at this point. You also have to actually mean the apology and not refer to Korea as a second world country at best around the same time.
I don't even think Korea is a first world country. I honestly think Korea is probably a second world country at best.
Or call the judge a racial slur.
I don't speak Korean. The nigga said take the hat off. I don't know what these gook ass niggas said. Nigga said take the hat off. I don't know what the fuck.
Also in Korea, Apparently when you're in court, when you send out apology letters, you're supposed to send out multiple ones over the course of your trials, not just a single one right before the last trial. Basically reinforcing that Johnny's apology is too little, too late. One of the stranger things that happened recently though, was that Johnny Somali's mom also got in on the action and apparently wanted the judge to seek leniency for him. Sorry mom, but Johnny sort of dug himself into this legal hole. No one forced him to travel to other countries to harass the people there. He fucked around and found out, all for some cheap clout. He's not some little underage 25-year-old ooh-woo baby who didn't know any better. He's a fully grown adult that should understand that openly causing trouble in public in a foreign country isn't a good idea, especially when some of these countries have very penalizing laws. I'm surprised his mom is so soft on him when his dad outright told Johnny that he should get a vasectomy.
You guys know what my dad told me? My dad my dad said to me that I should not have kids. That made me so sad. What kind of dad tells his son that?
It's crazy how the dad can recognize that Johnny isn't a good person, but the mom can't. Johnny has had multiple times to change his ways and not harass people in other countries for clout, but he didn't, so he has to pay the price now, with interest. The mom needs to realize that Johnny is a lost cause who is the source of his own misery. That's basically all of the new developments in regard for Johnny in his February court trials. With the final trial in April coming up, I can't imagine that it will go over well for Johnny, with the prosecution either getting the recommended sentencing or something close to the recommended sentencing, which is 3 years of jail labor, a fine of 150,000 Korean won, permanently losing his 2 phones, and registering old Johnny Boy on the Korean sex offender registry for the next 5 years. The sad part about Johnny's Korean court saga is that he could have stopped any time. He could have chosen to not harass people in foreign countries repeatedly for rage clout, which is not long-term sustainable by the way. But no, he just had to keep on pushing the envelope and causing trouble. Even when it reached the point of people getting fed up with him, resulting in him being arrested and beaten for his shitty actions, he continues to be a public cancer for views and attention. Even when his actions have finally caught up to him in Korean court, he initially was completely unapologetic and arrogant, getting drunk the night before one of his first trials and showing up an hour late, not to mention the excessive trash talking of the judge in the Korean court, peaking with him calling the judge a slur for Koreans. Very smart decision to trash on the people who can decide how your life will turn out, by the way. Only now when the legal walls are closing in does he now attempt an apology. That's not even a real apology, as Johnny passes the blame onto Korean culture and alcohol, which everyone can see right through. Especially when you right after decide to trash Korea as a second world country at best.
I don't even think Korea is a first world country. I honestly think Korea is probably a second world country at best.
Despite all of this, you still have some people, including his own mother, who think that he's just a young person who the courts are being too hard on. Listen, all he had to do was not harass people and break laws in foreign countries for clout, but apparently that's too hard to understand. Johnny's done so many bad things at this point, a better question to ask would be, what crime didn't he commit? Now he's facing jail times and all of that for a crumb of clout. At least I don't see anyone now trying to frame Johnny's case as a free speech issue, considering how free speech is a US thing, not a Korean thing. And Johnny doesn't believe in free speech as he's tried to mass flag and take down videos of people who've covered him negatively. Overall, Johnny Somali's whole saga is crazy since there were so many ways he didn't have to end up like this. He could have not caused trouble in other countries for cheap clout, or after ignoring that simple task, either learned his lesson after getting arrested in Japan, or just folded quickly in the South Korean courts instead of trying to fight to disprove the crimes he streamed himself to the internet. Alright, that's all I have to say. See ya.